Rahubat Yasar. Ranani, Ka'atui, Ankh, Sanantat, Atum, Rayay, and today I will be reading the AKASHA Records. Once, I was seated looking up from beings from Brisk. They came on stage with other beings I did not recognize, yet with me was this being, and his name was Rama. He was humanoid, yet a golden color, with white fur and red eyes. He spoke and said, "Just relax," and smiled. Up front, they spoke to each other. Then one waved his hand toward the screen, and it lit up, and there was a star map of constellations I did not recognize. What they talked about, I was not knowledgeable of, as it was not for me. Then he waved again, after many others, and I saw Sirius and Orion, and I was called up by YAANANan and given my place as the 19th elder and my assignment as Panabab, the master teacher. And so much more I was shown and told. Yet many star people and even some of the strange creatures each had their own signet symbol. It seemed many knew each other. Much of what I was exposed to, I can't say here. I saw my great friends, Sa'at, Pril, and Alamar, who said they will be my helpers. These were the same ones who abducted me at age 9 while in New Jersey, so I remembered them. So I came to know what the disc was, the me stones at the galactic gatherings, and so much more. AKASHA Sajal, the AKASHA Records. These are galactic gatherings which take place all over the multiverses at a set time and place. Growing up, I never had friends of humans or pets. I was a person who was always alone, did not choose mortals, only extraterrestrials, as family. I found that after my abduction, I understood ancient languages, even some lost tongues. I could read ancient hieroglyphics and ancient Sabaic or Sabaean. I could play musical instruments, draw pictures, lifelike, sing, dance. I could do almost everything without studying. Because of Hebrew, I was led to a black rabbi named Rabbi Wentworth Arthur Matthews of the Moorish Zionist Temple of the Moorish Jews, Harlem, New York, where I was bar mitzvahed in the year 1958 AD. And because of my Arabic, I was led to a black sheikh named Shaikh Ahmed Daoud of the Islamic Mission of America in Brooklyn, New York, and was given a shahadat in the year 1957 AD. It was he who first mentioned to me my Sudanese roots, yet at a young age I did not understand. Many times my beloved mother would try to tell me. She would stop me and say, "Son, you must listen to me. I have something very important to tell you about yourself." I would never give her the time to explain, and if she did, I really did not want to be any different than my other half-brothers and sisters, so I did not hear her. I wanted to be a normal boy. I tried to act like others, think like others, yet all along I knew inside I was not like humans. I looked out of myself at things they did and liked to do as strange, and I still do today. I was easily led to follow behind others, of then getting into trouble, just trying to be accepted. It never worked out for me. No one seemed to care about me except my great aunt, Diane Fletcher, daughter of Ben York, a full Native American woman who lived in Teaneck, New Jersey. She raised me. When she crossed over, my whole world seemed to end. I ran into the streets of New York, Brooklyn, trying to figure out and forget who and what I was born to be. I came across black Muslims. I came across Moorish Americans and even 5%ers. I read all they taught to try and understand each. I saw each helped our race in their own way, and so many other groups in those days. In 1962 AD, I was guided by extraterrestrials to pick up pen and write Wu Nuwap. I came to find out that most did not understand it and only asked me about Christian and Mohammedanism religion. So I gave them what they wanted until they could learn to want what I was born to give them. So I taught them what I called the schools of religion. In 1968 AD, I went to visit Sheikh Ahmed Dawood at 143 State Street in Brooklyn, New York. He took me aside and told me of my grandfather, Abdur Rahman al-Mahdi, and how he visited him there many times, and of my real father and his son, Al-Hadi Abdur Rahman al-Mahdi. He gave me an Arabic copy of the Ratib book, spoke of Ansar in Sudan, showed me the flag and photos of my grandfather and father, and my great-grandfather, Muhammad Ahmad ibn Abdullah al-Mahdi. He told me of my family story, who I really was, and why I was born in the year 1945 AD, that being exactly 100 years after my great-grandfather was born in 1845 AD. He gave the photos to me, which I got mixed up. So I decided to go to Sudan to find my bloodline, and I did in 1969 AD, and visited Sudan, Egypt, Lebanon, Israel, even went to Arabia's holy city of Mecca, became a student in Sudan at the University of Khartoum. I graduated the first day of August 1975 with a Bachelor of Arts in Arabic and History, the 3rd division. I was accepted by my family, who recognized me by how I looked, and they helped me to get into the university there. I met my wife, Fatima Omer Sanusi, in the University of Khartoum, Sudan. We fell in love, I met her family, and in time we married and had a son, Muhammad Isa al-Mahdi, and a daughter, Amel Omer Sanusi. We were separated most of our lives by the system, she in Sudan, I in the West, yet by mail our love lingered. In our separation, I had many other sons and daughters by many other females. All children are mine. I never knew how to be a father or a friend or a husband. I never knew love. So I never understood family or relationships or love. Never had a birthday party or holidays. I worked from age 9 until I was a workaholic, and so I hurt many of my children and their mothers because I did not understand love and affection. I asked many people to please teach me how to love, and they only taught me sex and lust, not love and appreciation. No one taught me. Most could not understand I was part extraterrestrial, without their kind of emotions or feelings, and my gray friend had none to teach me. Being born part extraterrestrial, I am not by nature a people's person. I don't really know how to relate to humanoids on a full human level. I have tried over the years only to be led into doing things I did not fully understand. Many tried to help me in their own ways, yet did not realize I'm not humanoid, I'm YAANANAN, an alien. I know this. So in actual fact, as part humanoid, I am extraterrestrial, an alien. Mirzaku Razaku Riskian, Panabab YAANANAN, the 19th elder of Ilion. And here's a chart that describes his bloodline. Mother XX, father XY. Mary Abba Okran, his father Al-Hadi Abdur Rahman al-Mahdi. Malachi Kobina Okran on his mother's side, and Isa Al-Hadi al-Mahdi on his father. H.E. Dr. Malaki S. Kobina Okran. I became a diplomat of the Republic of Liberia, West Africa, a consul general, and neutralized citizen on July 12, 1997 AD. Took an oath, I chose Liberia because my family left America and returned to Liberia, mixed with the Bassa tribe, and that also became family and tribe on December 15th. I was given in 1999 AD. Stepfather, Mr. David P. York Sr., a Native American of Yamasee tribe, related to Ben York. Of all his children and my mother's children, 4 in all, 2 sons and 2 daughters. Only one of them stood by my side all my life, as a mother image, sister, friend, and student. Mrs. Dale Brown York, Mutpatawaret Atum Rayay. Only she overstood and understood my life, long pains, and that was because she lived such a hard and sad life herself. If I could say I love the feelings I have for her, that would be divine love. She wrote a book about me. She visited me whenever she could. She wrote letters all the time. For that I knew she loved me and did all she could to help to prove my innocence. Her book entitled My Brother the Extraterrestrial asked me questions while I was in prison. Nuapians. Over the years I met many people. I touched their lives. I made them who and what they became. I rendered help in their future. They never knew who I was or why I helped them. Some don't even know it was I who helped them in their lives. They moved on and forgotten me. Many felt I was strange and or different. Some felt they could just use me for their needs or abuse me. I knew all along that as well, yet I had my assignment in each one's lives. So I did my job for them and moved on. I never knew my own children as I had a job to do for all our lost race of people. So many of my own DNA dislike me or feel ill feelings for me. Some mothers have told them I am not their real father. Yet when they see a photo of me or hear my voice, the alien in them says, "Who is this man? What is he to me?" They have alien DNA, yet not activated from Pa Murzaku and Pa Mandaru. And Nuapians of Wu-Nuap, you should know what most think aliens are. They take the term alien to mean intelligent creatures or beings born or whatever coming from outer space or outside the planet Earth, and UFOs, little green men. When in fact some of that is true, while others of us have been here all along and are alien species. Some reptilian or Marbakian greys or Mukmaku, Pleiadians, humanoids, and many, many others, most in ancient times, seeing the visitors as their deities, gods, dios, lords, and this became religions world over. Some reside above in crafts in the heavens, and some reside in the deep waters, while others inside the planet, and others inside of human bodies. Some good, some not so good. You hear name attributes, titles of them, in cultures and races and people world over, who all describe beings in their own image, coming down to earth to teach them, such as Wandi, Shenwu, Odin, Thor, Frey, Krishna, Vishnu, Christ, Gabriel, Michael, Ahura Mazda. All over the world, at times, long before the Bible and Quranic story of the first man, Atum, formed, shaped, fashioned, molded, born Tammuz the 6th in 3761 BCE or 4004 BC, which was made by a being or beings who came down to earth to make a man in his own image and likeness, always in the physical image of the people he or she come down to. Those that are Etherians or spirit beings can shapeshift or incarnate. Some can take on others' likeness who have passed. Some come illuminated, some as a mist or orbs, or flames or fire. spirits, specters, apparition, smoke, ghosts, demons, polygerous, spooks, monsters. They as ghosts can pretend to be your relative to get into your body. So in fact, many so-called aliens or extraterrestrials are no more than the dead pretending to be aliens. That is all most religions are founded on, and the devotees, followers, do not know or care to know the truth and live by faith, trust, belief. They are called believers. They don't want facts, truth, confirmation, or evidence. They entrust their bodies, spirits, souls to beings they know nothing about. They call them Holy Spirits or Holy Ghosts or angels and offer their whole conditional lives to them or it. As long as they have a given name, as they read in books, they claim was given to men or women by the Supreme Being they call a living God, Lord in many of these languages, none which go back before 6,000 years, in the Bible and Quranic religions. And the records of their conditions, or making creation and birth, is right in these conditions, and right in these books given to them by the extraterrestrials. Yet they mistranslate and avoid much of what is given, or just don't understand their small parts. This has a greater as a record from stone tablets, out of ignorance or neglect. If they would only take the time to investigate the ancient language, which gave way to the dialect which their Bible and Quran, in Hebrew and Arabic, became, which was then mistranslated, and names removed words, changed as they mistranslate into new tongues, German, Greek, Latin, French, English, all tongues of the Adamite race, Genesis 11, verse 1. And true names, places and times get lost in the scrolls, into chapters and verses and titles by names which are rearranged. So the timeline is lost forever. So what was intended to guide their records are lost. The people are no longer have facts to follow, dates, times, and evidence. So they retreat to faith, beliefs, legends, fables, and things added or deleted. They become believers, no facts. So as in the Adam and Eve story or history, their names changed multi times with dialects, such as who you call Adam. The name is only describing how he looked in Hebrew, Arabic. Adam, it means ruddy-skinned, colored person, reddish, flush, pale, fair-skinned, a white person or red person. That is what it means, what he came out looking like, as most Europeans born. They come out red, and they grow until they turn whitish, pinkish, and of that seed of Adamites, Genesis 5, verse 1. Later, some were cursed with the disease of leprosy, to become pale and white as snow, Genesis 9, verse 25, or the Canaanites, as you see in Leviticus 13, verse 1 through 59, where the curse is laid out and explained in Exodus 4, verse 6. And he is given by the Lord's anger, Numbers 12, verse 9 through 10. So you have the whites and the reds, both of the Adam seed, and the name Adam describes the white race's birth. He was called Zakar, one allowed to remember, Genesis 1, verse 27. He was called Cadman, one moved from Africa eastward to Arabia, Genesis 2, verse 8. He was named Adapa, one who is able to learn, and the Sumerian stone tablet tale of Adapa, a generations of Adapa in Mesopotamian stone tablets. The same with Eve. Her name only meant the one from whom all living came, to say men come from women, not the other way around. Originally, yet later grafting of germs made it possible to clone genes and make alterations in genetics. Yet the first white man, Adam, was born of a woman. He had a mother, Job 17, verse 1, and a father, Luke 3, verse 38. Like all his other seed, Genesis 3, verse 15, the woman's seed. Yet first that part of the planet Mesopotamia had to be restored after the war between Enlil and his host Igigi, Cherubim, the Elelu, and his host and family, which laid parts of the earth waste, dark and void of living things. So after the war in the heavens, which affected the earth, Jeremiah 4, verse 23 through 28, from Revelation 12, verse 7 through 12. This ended the 42,000 years to start that last 7,000 years to complete the 50,000 year Jubilee, or 49,000 years Jubilee, from the Hebrew Yobel Ram's horn, the day when the trumpet will be blown. Quran 20, verse 102, Jubilation. They live by 7,000 year cycles, and one day with their Lord is 1,000 years. So the 6 days before Adam's birth, on Tammuz the 6th, 3,761 BCE, was 42,000 years and started the next 7,000 years. In our records, we use 24,000 years, or the equinox, of 4 cycles of 6,000 years, to mark their end, and the year's 2000 AD, which is 6000 AD, Adam's calendar, which all began according to their own Bible and Quran with Genesis 1, verse 1. At the head of the beginning of the last 7,000 years, the 42,000 years, the ending of the last 7,000 years, as you can read in the book of their prophet Jeremiah 4, verse 23 through 28. To reconstruct this one part of the land of Mesopotamia before the Adamite race was to be born, Job 14, verse 1. Because each day of 24 hours with Yahweh, who is Enki, Ea, Nudamud, Jah, the Lord of earth or land, with him 1,000 years was one day, as recorded by the letter of Peter, 2 Peter 3, verse 8. Also in the Songs of David, Psalms 90, verse 4. Also recorded in Quran 32, verse 5. A day with the Lord is as 1,000 years. So Nuwapians of Wu-Nuwap, to be all wise, right, and exact, 7 days would each be 7,000 years. So in actual fact, Genesis 1 verse 5 through Genesis 1 verse 31 was the 6 days each of 7,000 years, or in all 42,000 years. And Genesis 1 verse 1 began the last 7,000 years. And Genesis 2 verse 1 through 3, as you read in Genesis 1 verse 1, at the head of the beginning of the next 7,000 years, or at 42,000th year, the Elohim, Hebrew, Arabic plural of El and Allah, these multiple deities, gods, who were Pa Mun Uraku, Arconians, reptilians, dragon. And number 2, Pa Mumka'u, Kamahu, Pleiadians. 3, Pa Munaku, Anakim, Anunnaki. These gods are the us and we. In the Bible and Quran, over 42,000 years remade Mesopotamia and that part of the land. These extraterrestrials have been coming to and from this planet Earth for many, many, and thousands of years. And many thousands of beings, creatures, will come to this planet, as you read in Psalms 82, 1 verse 8, Psalm 68, verse 17, mistakenly later called God, gods. These extraterrestrials recreated this part of the skies by removing the dust cloud and remade the cities that were blown away and had fallen into ruin, as you read in Jeremiah 4, verse 23 through 28, which had become without form and void by previous wars of these extraterrestrials. And this part of the planet Earth, Mesopotamia, was moved, it was desolate, and destroyed by war. Mesopotamia, the Persian Gulf, was without form, was void of persons, and a dark carbon dust cloud of darkness was over the surface of the deep waters. Of the religion, the whole area was desolate, uninhabited, laid waste. And the glory of the master of earth, Enki, the son of Anu, or Elion El, the Most High, and Ninmel, his Arconian mother. So this mixed being, Enki, was chosen to come back down to this part of earth. He was in an etheric form, a soul without physical, and his glory of the Lord, or Kabab, a shiny bright crafts, as you read in Psalms 10, verse 30, Psalms 97, verse 1 through 6. Once here, he, Enki, took on a physical form, a living body, Psalms 104, verse 1 through 35. And Enki and his Kabab, craft of glorious light, Psalms 18, 9 through 12. While in his craft, in order to traverse the skies and enter through the wormhole, in order to manifest on the side of the dimension, from their mother craft, like a planet called Nibiru, as in Revelation 21, verse 1 through 27, a flying city in the skies above. So he had to be a soul form of Ruach, or Ru'u, then a spirit form, or Nafish, or Nafas, then a body, Basar, or Bashar. So a sound vibration word became flesh and blood, a living being. This was Enki called Yahweh, a living, breathing being. And his craft, or chariot of light and fire, created a whirlwind as it hovered above the surface of the waters of the deep. And after 6 days of 7,000 years, each Genesis 1 verse 4 through 30, with the help of the Pleiadians, the Arconians, and the Anakians, called in the Hebrew Elohim, and in Arabic Alihat, and the Greek Theai. These were the we, the us, that they called deities lords, Baalim gods, these Els. And the start of the next and the last 7,000 years, which is 42,000 years, of cycles of 6,000 years each, which has one last 1,000 years, called the end of the rest, Shabbath day. The 4 6,000-year cycles would be 42,000 years, or one equinox. So Nuwapians, at the end of this last 42,000 years, or 7,000 years, complete cycles start the last 6,000 plus 1,000, or millennium. And with all completed, Genesis 2, verse 1 through 3. And the birth of this first new and last race was to begin, Genesis 1, 26 through 27. And they, these Elohim, gods, said, let us make a ruddy flush, reddish, fair skin, white man in our own Pleiadian's image, and after our own likeness, to look like and act like us. And it was in the month of Tammuz, on the 6th day of that month, the year 3761 BCE, or 4004 BC, that is the 6,000 years ago, that the first white man was born. Job 14, verse 1. He, Atum, was born of a female woman. If you read in Hebrew of that verse, where you see mistranslated as the man in English, the Hebrew was insert Atum, and there was no vowel marks in the original, which looked like this. So they play word games, and Arabs do with Arabic, to say the vowel marks make it mankind or general man, as in men, when in fact its name, or his name, Atum, ruddy one, of the earth or ground, he was born of a mother. And that means he had 46 chromosomes, he had XY. As all males, he was born with a navel. As all humanoids, attached to his mother fetus inside her womb, born on the 9th month. And this began the next 7,000 years, and he was only given 6,000 of the 7,000 to have dominion. Genesis 1 verse 28, Revelations 13 verse 2. To rule his race and people for 6,000 years, dominion over that part of the planet from 4,000 BC to 2000 AD. And the last 1,000 years begins in 42,000 plus 7,000, or the last 1,000 equals 49,000 years, or the Jubilee of 50,000 years. 2 24,000-year cycles, and 2 millenniums of 1,000 years each. At each end, called the deist or rest, Shabbat. This is when and how the last 6,000 years, from 4,000 BC to 2000 AD, the end Adamite dominion or rule. And now, Nuwapians, he as a species will fade away and become extinct in the end of the devil's rule. Between the year 2000 to 2030 AD on to 2060 AD, the Adamite race will be gone forever, never to be remade. The evil race of mischief makers who birthed all chaos on earth for 6,000 years. The killings, wars, rapes, stealing of lands and other races. The one who mixed his diseased seed with all others, the cursed seed of lepers, will be removed from the planet. This will be heaven come down to earth, or your kingdom come. This will be heaven come down to earth, or your kingdom come. Your will be Enki, be done on earth, Ki, as it is in heaven, and. So this seed of Adamites spread on the earth in Mesopotamia. And they had watches called Igigi, watching over them, appointed by Enlil, brother of Enki. Enki equals Yahweh. Enlil equals Baal. And they were given laws and commandments to obey and follow. When Adam and Eve had sex, it was taught to them by Ningish-Ziddah, the son of Enki. This is clear in Genesis 3, when you know the true story, now revealed in the stone tablets found in 1885, thought 1887 AD. And since then, many thousands more, which tell the true story, and even in 1845 AD, there was uncovered in the deserts of Egypt clay jars with lost scrolls called Gnostic Gospels, which also reveals so much left out of the Bibles today. And then in 1947 AD, outside of Jerusalem, was found in caves, even more than older scrolls, that also revealed stories not found in the Bible, called the Dead Sea Scrolls. So now, days with the stone tablets, the scrolls uncovered the story of Genesis 3 is much clearer, even names. My beloved children of Wunuwap, when you have done your research and investigations, you see things as they really were and are. We call that the right knowledge, the right wisdom, the right understanding that leads to overstanding, which is sound, right reasoning. With that divine mind, you can see it clear, just as Genesis chapter 3. When you look things up, you find that the word serpent in Hebrew of the Torah, of these 5 books of Moses, where you first find the name or title serpent, is never used for the devil or Satan. In fact, the Hebrew word for Satan means adversary, and is not found in the Torah of Moses. Nowhere in the 5 books is that word, title, attribute ever found, not one place, Nuwapians, in his so-called books. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. All the other books are not of the original books of the Torah. They are by others who made claims based on the original 5 books of Moses. So the serpent, Genesis 3, verse 1 through 14, Nachash, Nachash, to hiss, whisper, a magic spell, divination, divine, enchanter, wise one, incantation, the many translations, or even found in the Muslims' holy book, Al-Quran, chapter 114, verse 4. As Al-Kanas, the whisperer, in the Torah, Genesis chapter 3, is not Satan, or Quran's shaitan, from the same Hebrew Satan. And the serpent is not the devil, in Hebrew, of the Torah, as you can read in Hebrew of the 2 books of the Torah, Leviticus 17, verse 7. For the devil you will find, Seir devils, is a goat man, and in the book of the Torah, Deuteronomy 32, verse 17. For the devil you will find, Shad, or devils, is a demon. So again, the serpent is not the devil, or Satan. The other books in New Testament made these up. They did not understand the Torah, of whom was this man speaking with Eve in the Garden of Eden, which in Hebrew, Gan Eden means enclosure of pleasures and or delights. Who was he? He could speak. He knew God, and he called that God a liar. In Genesis 3, verse 4 through 5, he told Eve, you will not die or drop dead if you partake of the fruit. That God lied to Adam in Genesis 2, verse 16 through 17. And he did not lie to Eve, as God lied to Adam, because they did both partake of it, and that very day, and did not drop dead or die. The word used for day in the verse in Hebrew is yom, and it means when looked up in the heat of the day or daylight, the hot part of the day. That is the first 10 hours from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m., the heat of the day. So they did not drop dead, and it was not until evening after the heat of the day that this God Enlil came to check up on them. Genesis 3, verse 8. He and his hosts and sons, Nanar and Nin-ur-Ta, was walking on the earth inside of the garden. It was in the cool of the day, that is evening, after the heat of the day, yet before dark or night. And he was confused about what he lied about in Genesis 3, verse 9 through 15, just as there Jesus said of him, John 8, verse 44, he was a liar, Enlil lied to Adam, and the serpent told Eve the truth. They did not die that day, once they ate of it. So Nuwapians of Wu-Nuwap, the right knowledge you see this Nachash serpent was not Satan. He was not the devil. He was a person just like the God and knew that he was a liar. You can find the goat man devil in other books outside of the 5 books of Moses, such as in 2 Chronicles 11, verse 15, and as a demon in Psalms 106, verse 37. It's the mistranslators who tried to deceive you with new English meanings and confuse the serpent of the book of Genesis 3 with the devil or Satan. You can find serpent used many places, other ways, not as a person, such as in Genesis 44, verse 15, Genesis 49, verse 17, Exodus 4, 3. Not the same person who was in Genesis 3, 1 through 15, who, as you read in verse 15, had a seed like Eve. And seed in Hebrew is zera, from zerma, semen, issue. So seed there is prosperity, offspring, seed, child. This Nachash, or serpent, had sperm, semen, chromosomes, XY, DNA, genes. He had a wife or wives. He had children. He had offsprings. He was human with 46 chromosomes, same as Eve, or he had 47 chromosomes, as a savant from a French savior, to know things. A learned person, which some extraterrestrials had and passed on to humans in their DNA, breeding that is by seed. So this serpent was a savant with 47 chromosomes. He had a seed. He was an extraterrestrial, yet in humanoid form, yet called a serpent, a snake man, an Arconian or humanoid mix. A reptilian humanoid, Homosaurus. His mother, he said, a Negroid Egyptian woman. His father, Enki, a Anunnaki, Anakim, part reptilian, while Enki was called Ea. E equals abode, of and A equals water. In their language, is pronounced Ea, as in Exodus 3, verse 14. Ea Asher Ea, I am that I am, is another mistranslation. Tawahat Yasar. Have a beautiful evening.